evening, everyone. Welcome to Inauguration Day 2021. I think we'll start with the pledge. Oops. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Trustee Fritchie?
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay. Trustee White?
Here.
Trustee Lopez?
Present.
Present. And Trustee Quesada?
Present.
And Mayor Levin?
Present.
Okay. Moving on to Mayor's and Trustees announcements.
I'm sure there are some. Shall we go around and see? I see a few smiles. So who would like to go first? I'm looking for the largest smile. I'm finding it on Trustee Lopez. Would you like to go first?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So I would like to start what I'm sure will be a long line of people congratulating our new president, Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris. Very excited to be in this new world that we are in. Nevertheless, the work here in Ossining remains the same. So the two things that I want people to be most on the lookout for in the community are opportunities for public engagement with our Police Reform and Reinvention Committee. So we are looking to have the draft coming to us next week at the work session. And so I'd love for folks to be able to watch that and be ready to get their reactions and questions ready for the following week. And we have a series coming up for the DPW site, for the project that we're working on down there. So the first session is going to be tomorrow evening, starting at 7. All of this information, if you are not already signed up for our blasts that go out on Thursdays, you can also find it on the Village website. I highly recommend that you do. Jamie does a terrific job putting together a lot of great information, and information on all of this is available there as well. So tomorrow at 7 for the DPW is going to be on Zoom, and look out next week for information on police reform and reinvention. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nope. Not seeing anybody. Dana, are you raising your hand? Your mute's on.
I would just like to, we have a new president, very exciting. We're still in the middle of a terrible pandemic. And I know that one thing that helps me feel better when I'm anxious or in difficult times is to try and do something to help. So what I did was, since I had the virus back last spring, I got a antibody test and it came back positive, which showed I have the antibodies to the COVID virus 19. And I made an appointment to go give convalescent plasma at the New York Blood Center in Elmsford. And it was just like giving normal blood, which I actually hadn't done since 1995. I admit, I'm not the best, but I thought, you know what, this is something I can do. People, it seems to help people who are sick with the virus to get the plasma with the antibodies in it. So I went and I gave about 825 milliliters, which my husband said is more than a bottle of wine's worth of plasma. And it was not a big deal. And it took a couple hours. It takes a little while. You need either a positive COVID test or a positive antibody test to sign up to give. But if you think you might qualify, I urge everybody to help out your fellow man who's ill by donating convalescent plasma. Yeah.
If I may, Mayor, I just want to add something quick. I was hoping Trustee Lopez will mention this, but obviously, as you guys know, we're still in the pandemic mode. We still have to be very careful in how do we social distance ourselves, wearing a mask. There's been different strains of the viruses around New York, definitely Westchester. one of the things that I was watching early in the week, something, so I want to thank Chief Sylvester and the staff, Officer Chavez, or Detective Chavez, actually, did a great few minutes presentation on their Facebook page, and the one in Spanish one. And one of the things that he mentioned is that he actually was getting the vaccine and he was going to keep the community posted. So I thought it was something really cool to do and bring attention to everybody in the community, but in this particular case to the Spanish community, and the reasons what what we should be careful, what we should not be having parties and bringing friends and families over that they're not in the same household pretty much. So please keep that in mind. Be careful with situations like this. When you go outside, please wear a mask, and just be safe. So that's all I have. So thank you.
Thanks. Bob, do you have anything? No, that would be a no. Okay. And yes, congratulations. We do have a new president and vice president. I was at work all day, and so I don't have the luxury of watching the whole thing, but I scooped in and out, and I work at a community center where there are a lot of kids and there are a lot of teachers, actually. And it was quite moving, some of the discussions and the back and forths. Regardless of who you voted for and what you like, for me personally, I've always thought the position of President of the United States and Vice President are very honorable positions. I haven't always thought that they were filled with honorable people. But I will say that I'm but as optimistic as I've been in years, that we do have two honorable people, and I hope that they live up to the expectations. I'm going to tell you that it is nice when you have two daughters to see the vice president in inauguration. The totally unexpected look of this inauguration for me as someone's daughter, as a wife and a mother of two daughters, of two girls, is that this became sort of the year of the woman. I have long looked for the day when we have a woman president, but I'll tell you, vice president ain't bad. So I thought it was great. I thought having two New York women like Lady Gaga and J-Lo, also great, amazingly talented, amazing business women. For me, I've looked at a lot of TED Talks where they talk about their upbringing in New York, and they're real entrepreneurs, and they've employed lots and lots of people on the East and West Coast. But I got to tell you, I didn't know we had a youth laureate from Harvard. I didn't know there was such a thing. So for me, it was a great learning. She, if you haven't seen her 6-minute poem, she is an amazing young woman, I guess a 22-year-old. My daughter's age, one of my daughter's age. It was just moving to see her up there. The poetry, the experience of being a descendant of slaves, the whole thing was for me very moving. So I'm thoroughly optimistic. I mean, I've been optimistic for a long time about our future, but today gave me a little bit of a joyful feeling. And living under the pandemic, I think sometimes the days have not been very joyful. And so I saw such a tremendous future to bring all this together. So I thought it was a great day, and I hope it's a beginning of a great 4 years. I wish them all a lot of luck, all the people that are coming in, all the people that are moving on. I hope the next 4 years will be great for the country. So that was one thing. I appreciate, I don't want to repeat everything that was said, but I'm going to have to talk about the Police Reimagine initiative. There's been a lot of work done by the working committee, a lot of subcommittees, over 1,000 surveys filled. The chief has been in the working committee from day one, as is supposed to be. There are people from all different backgrounds of our community. People have lived here a long time, people have lived here a very short time, genders. I mean, it's across the board. We've made this announcement before, but here it is. Next week, we're going to start seeing the beginning of the plan being presented to the board. There will be lots of public hearings. You don't have to wait for all the public hearings. You can contact us if you have any opinions. Trustee Lopez has been on there from day one. Our former mayor, Victoria Garrity, has been there, and now in the mayoral role, I have stepped in. Some really great stuff coming out. Not easy stuff to talk about, not easy stuff to necessarily always deal with. When you have a lot of diverse people, you get a lot of diverse opinions, you get a lot of stuff that gets discussed, and I think they're doing an amazing job, and I think that I would encourage everyone in the community who wants to be involved to please attend the public meetings, to please send us emails if you have opinions. The survey is closed because frankly they have to tabulate it, but we'll see some of the results as we get moving on it. So I think that's a huge initiative, and yes, we are running a series of 6 sessions on the DPW site, another huge multi-year initiative that will add about 1.5% possibly, potentially to a population. I think it's a huge deal. There's been a unanimous vote in support of taking that property and doing something great with it. And I think that we're looking at something that's very positive and optimistic and will be great for us. But we need to hear from all the people in our village, because we need to also make sure that it's a great project and that it suits people and that we can shape it in the way we want to. You could leave it to the 5 of us. I'm good with that. I'd be happier if you didn't just leave it to the 5 of us. If you gave us your input, if you come and look at the place, there'll be a video that will be shown. I don't want to unveil the presentation for tomorrow. A lot of work went into it, but there's a lot of information. If you're not able to make it, if you want to share it, all of that will be available, but please get involved in that. And to Dana's point, somebody asked me why I ran for office. It's simply this: I was on the train and I sort of got fed up with the way things were being done, so I ran for office. I encourage you all to be involved in the community. Start on a committee, run for an office, do whatever it is. Dana's advice on just helping other people. We've got a lot of organization. Please, please, please. This is like a new year, a new time, and just encouraging people to get involved. There's room for everyone. So with that said, I think we are going to go to administrative reports, and I'm sure somebody will let me know if I forgot something, but I think I covered most of the big projects. Administrative reports, Village Manager, Karen Diator.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. So last night, I was joined by Assistant Village Manager, Maddie Zahach, our Treasurer, Dale Brennan, along with our Director of Public Works, Paul Fraioli, and our Water Superintendent, Andy Teese, at the Town Board work session. And there we requested tax exemption for the village-owned water system properties, 8 of them total, that are located within the unincorporated town. We also discussed an updated intermunicipal agreement for the provision of water services to the unincorporated town. Our original agreement, or our current agreement rather, it was drafted in 1968 and really hasn't had much revision since. We had done a similar presentation to the Board of Education and the Library Board mid-2020, and we are hopeful that all 3 boards see fit to grant the exemption in order to suppress the increases in water rates for for the entire water system, all ratepayers, particularly as we prepare to build a new water treatment plant at Indian Brook. Our next step is to follow up with the Board of Education and to seek their formal response in time for a new tax roll to be released by the Assessor's Office this spring. So we are working on scheduling that as we speak. One of the challenges is their board meetings are Wednesdays too, but we will figure something out. So we continue to work with our parking team on the downtown mobility and parking study, which is very exciting. I have no idea how exciting parking can be. This week included 2 meetings with several key staff people in parking enforcement and permitting functions so that we can better understand what our opportunities are for interventions based on best practices, parking management, technological innovations for permitting and enforcement, and to formally document our current operations. The team from Nelson Nygaard is nearing the point where they can fully document current conditions and will be able to begin exploring alternatives, which will be shared with the public in additional engagement opportunities sometime in March. So we're moving along quite nicely on that. Thank you, Assistant Village Manager Zahach, who has been steering that ship and making good progress. We've continued to build our relationship with Westchester Medical Center for COVID testing, and they'll return to the community center this Sunday, January 24th, and Sunday, January 31st. So you can check with our on the village website on our COVID page for a link where you can schedule an appointment. In addition, we are proud to announce that OVAC, our volunteer ambulance corps, is among the first in the state to offer free rapid testing at their facility on Clinton Avenue. You can visit OVAC's Facebook page to schedule an appointment on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, or you can call them directly at 914-941-1416, and they will try to accommodate your schedule. Special thanks to our OVAC chief, Nick Francoso, for being a vocal advocate in our community for all that he has done during the pandemic and setting the tone for ambulance corps around the state that are willing and able to expand services in the fight against this pandemic. One final note, if you have a chance, grab your phone or take a look at the village website. We have a new look and easier navigation thanks to the work of our village webmaster, among the many other titles she holds, Jamie Hoffman. This is part of a broader effort to communicate more efficiently and effectively with the community. Jamie has made several changes that really make it easier to find what you're looking for, whether it's village information on village board meetings, agendas, whether it is information on our most recent current pending initiatives, such as the comprehensive plan or the DPW site development, along with updates on the pandemic, as I just mentioned, and department-specific information. So you'll see it's a lot cleaner, a lot easier to find, and it's, again, part of a continuing effort to really hone our communication skills. So with that, I finished my announcements for this evening.
I guess that's my cue.
No, I'm sorry. I'm on two screens. I'm trying to mute myself to say Stuart Kahan.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. We have a few resolutions tonight I just wanted to go over briefly. The first is the board will be considering the adoption of Local Law 1 of 2021, which was formerly proposed Local Law 8 of 2020, dealing with special events. There's been a great deal of discussion about the events and about the event policies and event fees, which will also be before the board tonight. But I again want to express my great thanks to both Jamie Hoffman and Bill Garrison for all of their assistance and for all of the folks who commented upon the various drafts of the local law, which will be presented to the board tonight for adoption. In addition, the board will be presented with two resolutions to appoint a team of surveyors, and that doesn't mean actual surveyors that you see out on the streets, but this is with regard to two properties, one at 7 Hunter Street and the other at 20 Maple Place. Pursuant to the village code, if the village determines that a particular property requires repair and remediation, which has not been undertaken by the property owner, the village board can appoint an independent engineer or planner, as well as someone from the village to examine the property. And if it's determined that work needs to be done, then an application can be made in state Supreme Court for that action to be taken. That's what's being requested with regard to those two buildings. Some who are watching may recall that there was an earlier application with regard to 20 Maple Place. That was in fact just about a year ago tonight, but we're coming back for that application because the repairs that were required back then were undertaken, but since then there has been further deterioration to the property. There are also some resolutions before the board tonight authorizing the village manager to sign the annual agreement with the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals of Westchester, which provides various services to the village, including the neutering and spaying of feral cats that are brought in for such treatment. There is also a resolution asking the board to authorize the village manager to sign an agreement with Manganaro Consulting Engineers with regard to the water main work at the Westerly Road Bridge. Finally, there is our first planning board meeting of the year on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on Zoom. If you go to the village's website, you'll be able to get both the login information as well as see the entire agenda and all documents that are associated with that meeting. And again, that is Tuesday, the 26th of January at 7 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Chief Sylvester.
Good evening. Just one announcement tonight, as Trustee Quezada has already excuse me. As Trustee Quezada has already told you, we have new social media outlet we rolled out this week. Detective Jeff Chavez is going to be our moderator, and he's the creator. And the thought behind this one, we now have a fully Spanish language Facebook page, which we believe to be the first of its kind, to my knowledge, anywhere, at least in the English-speaking countries. We're not aware of anybody that's running in 2 languages at this point, and we've polled most of the country. So sort of proud to be a first on there. This is going to be a fully Spanish language page, completely independent of everything else we're doing. We will still maintain our regular Facebook page, or our main Facebook page, our Instagram account, 2 Twitters, Nextdoor, Nixle, all of that still. This Spanish language Facebook page, Policía de Asning, is going to be in addition to that, and it's going to be a message specifically tailored to our native Spanish speakers, in order to provide information that Detective Chavez deems is most important. And his efforts are generally based off of his contacts with different parent groups in the school district and other meetings he attends where people have sort of indicated a lack of understanding on certain topics. So predominantly educational, but an opportunity for, some of our highest points are really made in video. And when we write things, you can get a poor translation in whatever language you want, but when it's in video, you can't. So this is an opportunity for people to be able to absorb all the nuance and feel connected with us, and really have an opportunity to understand and have some ownership and be a real part of the community. So it's a good thing for us, and very proud of Detective Chavez, all the work he's doing, and it'll certainly include, we have many Spanish speakers here, so it'll include many of them contributing in their own ways, but the first in our department to really step up and say that they wanted to take over something completely on their own. So a little bit of a leap of faith, because I'm not proofing anything he's writing. So when you see it, this is police at play. He's got full ownership over this. So whatever goes out there is really, it's a little bit of trust to let these officers kind of manage this on their own. Following along as best as I can, but it's a cool thing for us. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Anybody had a chance to look at it?
I have. It's great. I'm really proud of the work there. I didn't want to steal the Chiefs' thunder, so that's why I didn't mention it. But happy to see it in action. And I think it's actually pretty cool that it has an independent voice, that it's not just a translation of the English language page, which has its own voice and I think is really popular and strong for its own reasons. But what Officer Chavez is doing, I think, is wonderful. So bravo.
I think it just should be acknowledged. The reason that I'm so intent on making sure that people understand his efforts here is that when you take on social media from a government perspective, these folks work 40 hours a week. And I can tell you he's probably worked double that with this Facebook page and often doesn't get paid for his efforts. Those messages roll in 24 hours a day. And as much as we tell people when you're off, you don't have to answer messages, it's hard to look at your phone and see people asking for help and not answer them. So we have automatic responses to tell people that if this is an emergency or you need police assistance, to call the desk. But, to really speak to the people behind the work, I have a number of officers that answer on the main page. Chavez is really managing the answers on his own there. These are people that are parents with children in school and trying to homeschool and do all the hybrid stuff, and answering hundreds of messages this week. Not just the comments on the page, but private messages and people asking for personal attention. So it's a Herculean effort to get this off the ground. And, it's really, it's a credit to his drive and his creativity and his dedication. So.
Great. Thank you.
We'll be able to I was actually able to see the Facebook page, and I have a couple of family members that are following it too. And as a person who grew up since 8 years old translating for her parents whenever the police showed up, it is absolutely amazing and wonderful to see the amount of effort that goes into trying to communicate with the Spanish community. That way kids nowadays don't have to be standing in translating words that they don't even know. Because I remember when I was 8, I was translating. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. But it's really, I applaud the effort of the Austin Police Department tremendously.
Well, email Jeff tomorrow and tell him you said that. So he should hear from you. It's you need a little bit of reinforcement when you're working as many hours and as hard as somebody like him is.
Yeah,
So I don't read in Spanish, but I've heard from a couple of people because they sort of came upon it or they heard upon it. And I said, yeah, the chief made the announcement. I think what's really cool is that, yes, Google will translate over 100 languages and this and that. But as Trustee Lopez said, what is really cool is sort of this entrepreneurship attitude of how do we make it significant? How do we make it important? That's really hard in social media. And it's really hard for an individual to do it. There's a lot of sort of pressure to get things right, and as you said, who really proofreads it? I think it's really an entrepreneurial spirit to say, what's the right thing to do at this point in time for a community? Because if it's just translation, the website, you can translate, you could set your iPhone to do everything in Spanish for you, or Arabic, or, Turkish, it doesn't really matter. But this is special what you guys are doing because it actually speaks very much to our community and it's iterative. Like people will start telling you what they'd like to hear about. So now that builds and builds and builds and it reaches more people. So I think it's really courageous, and I really applaud the entrepreneurship in a sense of doing something like this. I'm not going to be surprised if you report in 2-3 months, Chief, that it's now been copied by others. I'm not going to be surprised at all when you report on that. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. So kudos to everybody involved. I'm glad that we took the time to really talk about it, and I'm hoping more folks will start using it and benefit from it. So thanks.
May I piggyback on that, Mayor? One of the things that it was, I think, on this eras, I guess now, of social media itself and what's going on around our wall itself, one of the interesting parts of the first message that Chavez sent out, which was, I think, last week, it was the human part. It was him and Alama when he was a kid back in Peru. It was him telling the Spanish community that he was an immigrant when he first came to this country. That's the human part that sometimes a lot of people don't see, how we all got to this country at some point of time, sure. And to me, that opened up, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I seen some of the videos, that is the element sometimes that is missing from some people that they have a different perspective of the police officers here in Austin and around the country itself. And I think that was important for a lot of folks. Putting himself out there in a way that a lot of people may not have realized, that he came here when I was a kid. I think he was 2 years old, I want to say. He was very young when he first came here. But it was pretty cool. It was cool to see him putting himself that way. So I will call him tomorrow, Chief, and I will thank him myself in regards to that in my behalf. So thank you.
Thank you all. Does anybody else? Any comments? Okay, want to make sure we get everything. Chief, that was the one item, right? Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, that's all I have for tonight. Thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you. And now we are going to organization announcement. I see there are some participants. Is there anybody that wants to make an announcement?
We have one person. Would you like me to bring over Victoria Garrity?
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, I'll bring you over now.
Hi there. It's so good to see all of you.
Welcome.
It's nice to be here, Mayor Levin, and all of my friends on the board and in village government. You can't see me right now, but I've lost weight. My skin has cleared up. I think my hair is less gray. I'm really enjoying my new life. But it is so nice to hear about the great things that are moving forward in Ossining. I'm probably more excited than anyone about the conversation with water tax exempt properties moving forward. That's really exciting. And I can't wait to hear more about the parking study. And I love the Policia de Ossining page. I shared it with all my coworkers in my new job, and they're very excited. And that's really why I'm here today. I'm here on behalf of State Senator Elijah Reichlin-Melnick. I know many of you have met him. He just took office, and I am his Director of Constituent Services. My office is right in downtown Ossining. I don't know why my cat is insisting upon letting you know his presence tonight. Sorry about that. I'm right down the hall from Sandy Gallup at 2 Church Street. You are welcome to get in touch with me or my colleagues. The easiest way is probably by phone. We don't have too many in-person visits right now just because of social distancing. But the number is 914-941-2041. And the email address is Reichlin, R-E-I-C-H-L-I-N, @nysenate.gov. And as I said, I'm the Director of Constituent Services, and that's a team of us. It's 3.5 of us, and he's a whole person, or half person, but that's half of his job title, is doing constituent services. And it really is something that the Senator's office takes very, very seriously. We've been inundated with questions about the COVID vaccine, particularly from seniors, and every day we're learning more about that and trying to share that information with our constituents. We have one person who's dedicated entirely to helping people with unemployment, and one of my colleagues is Spanish dominant speaking. So we encourage everyone in Ossining, if there's something that we might be able to help you with, particularly if it's related to a state agency, to please contact us, and I'll repeat the phone number and email address at the end. I just also wanted to extend an invitation to everyone to a virtual inauguration for Senator Reichlin-Melnick that is happening on Sunday, the 24th. So there's just a few days from now at 3:30 in the afternoon. It will be live on Facebook. You do not need to be a member of Facebook to watch it, but to get all of the details and information, I'll give you that contact information again, is Reichlin, R-E-I-C-H-L-I-N, @nysenate.gov, or you can call me at 914-941-2041.
Thank you.
The Senator looks forward to working with all of you and supporting the village.
Right back at you. I mean, I think it's great to have somebody in the Senator's office who is so familiar with Ossining, having served for so many years as trustee and then mayor. I will say that I did speak with the Senator this morning. I've gotten a number of calls about the vaccine, the challenges and difficulty of registering doctor's offices that are backed up, all sorts of questions. And he assured me that he and Mondaire Jones and Sandy Gallup are talking to everybody they can in government and the governor's office to do what they can, because we are a yellow zone and Westchester has significant numbers and they're doing everything they can. And I appreciate how open he was. I appreciate taking a call and spending a few minutes with me in sort of helping me through our frustrations, trying to say, what can we do for Ossining? You know, like, what can we do here? So there are people working on it. The news is totally accurate. It is really just not enough vaccines. There are locations, there are websites all over the place. There are just not enough vaccines in New York. But I do hope that things will change shortly regarding the vaccines. So I appreciate you coming. You're always welcome to come. I'm hoping you will be at every one of our meetings. I think that'll be great for the community. So
I
Thanks.
have actually watched part of the first couple of weeks already, although I have not been tuning in live, but I'm catching bits here and there. I do have a little bit of an update on the vaccine front. Would you like me to just give the report as of this afternoon from the governor's office?
Sure, why not? I think that's what everybody's thinking about right now.
It sure is, especially seniors, and the way that they are handling it now. People are probably aware that the Westchester County Center is a mass vaccination site. They've been vaccinating over 1,000 people a day since they opened last week. All of the appointments filled up very quickly. Occasionally there will be an opening because something happened and somebody double booked or canceled for some reason. So it is worth checking back in if you want to find out if there's one available. As soon as the supply increases, as Mayor Levin mentioned, it's just the supply is too low. We just found out today for the second week in a row, we're only getting 250,000 to New York State again, down from 300,000 where we were until last week. So that's disappointing, and we are obviously hoping that increases. But this is what how they're doing it now. As of today, each week, the governor's office will reach out to the Westchester, all the county departments of health. The Westchester County Department of Health got a list late this afternoon, as did our office, identifying where locally vaccinations doses will be delivered. I have not seen the Westchester list yet. The Westchester County Department of Health should have it. So I would encourage people to visit the Westchester County Department of Health website. For seniors, vaccines will be available at local pharmacies. So if you're 65 or older and you want to make an appointment, any of the pharmacies that are on the list will be taking appointments for seniors. For anyone who is on the 1B list of first responders, teachers, transit workers, your vaccinations will be through the County Department of Health. And then the medical field workers are in the hospitals as they had been from the beginning. So that's the latest. I really wish that there was just a central location where everybody who's in 1B could just go and put their name on a list and just get an appointment as soon as it's available. But the only time you can get an appointment is when there is a location that knows they are getting a delivery. They will not take an appointment in advance. So that's pretty frustrating for people. It means every week you're calling around, you're going online if you have internet access, and it really is frustrating. So thank you to everybody who's fielding all of those questions. If you want to send them to me, that's kind of my full-time job right now. So go ahead and send them my way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the update. Okay.
Mayor, may I ask Victoria a question?
Yeah.
Thanks, Victoria, for stopping by our meeting. I just had a quick question for you. So is the center, the budget just came out from New York State early this week, and there were some concerns about how will that affect some local municipalities in regards to funding if we don't get the federal money that is sort of in a way promised. The deficit was close to, I want to say, $15 million, something like that. Is that something that maybe in a couple of weeks, your office may be giving us an update in that regards? And what will that look like as an overall?
You know what? We have somebody who does exclusively budget, and I have to say, I am not paying as close attention to that information as I am to the vaccine updates, because I'm trying to stay in my lane because my lane is flooded right now. But I would be happy to get an update for you on what the senator's position has been, or what he's asking for or concerned about in responding to the governor's budget. So Trustee Quesada, I'd be happy to follow up with you, and either I can attend a meeting or I can just share it with you for you to share with your colleagues at an upcoming meeting.
That'll be great. Thank you.
You bet.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the meeting. And I hope you're going to stay around for the rest of the meeting. Some interesting stuff going on here. So anybody else for organizational announcement? Jamie, I'm not seeing anybody, but are you?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Okay. So we're moving on, please, to the board resolutions. Oh, I'm sorry, is it public comments on agenda items? So anybody that would like to speak about items on the agenda this evening? Not seeing anybody. Okay, village board resolutions.
Okay. Approval of minutes, January 6, 2021. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austining hereby approves the minutes of the January 6, 2021 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Anybody on the board? Village clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Omar,
Opposed?
you're muted.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Okay. Approval of voucher detail January 20th, 2021. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated January 20th, 2021 in the amount of $1,441,950.17. Do I have a motion?
So
Second.
Second.
Comments on the board? Okay, I actually have a comment. This sort of goes back and forth depending on boards. For the past year, it could be longer, a couple of years, the board looks at the vouchers as a new system, looks at it in advance of this meeting. We get this in advance of the meeting. We get a lot of this in advance of legislative meetings. We actually review things in the work session that then gets put on the agenda if we so desire for this session, for the legislative session. Or things come up specifically for this meeting. Vouchers, we get in advance, we review them, but we did at one point, some of us sitting on this board, look at not only the detail, but the backup to the details. For some of us, it was a great learning and education and how every dollar is spent, who spends it, when they do it, because you get to see the backup. We had discussed with the village manager, and we're going to have some trustees actually start that process again of reviewing the backup to the vouchers going forward. We'll take turns doing it. We have a couple of, a new trustee, and for me, it was one of the best learning pieces that I had when I started as a trustee, and I appreciate the trustees that were already in office who helped me sort of learn how to do it and ask questions. I didn't find too many mistakes. Every once in a while, it's not about mistakes. It's about seeing where things are spent and asking questions. And part of our responsibility is budget oversight, not just at the end of the year when the budget's presented, but every day of the year. And so I just wanted to share that with those that follow us and pay attention to these details. We're just going to start doing that when we look at vouchers. I just wanted the public to know that it's a learning for us to see where money's being spent, and we feel strongly it's part of the hand-in-glove relationship we have in our oversight of budgets. So I think we have motion, and it was seconded. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Authorizing the village manager to enter into a consulting service agreement with Foa & Son. Resolved that upon recommendation by the Corporation Counsel, the village manager is authorized to enter into a consulting agreement with Foa & Son, 68 South Service Road, Melville, New York, 10168 for group health and benefits insurance for 2021 for $28,700 as detailed in the proposal dated December 15th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Really? Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to say something about the great work the staff is doing to find savings at every turn, at every curve. This is one of them. 80% of the time in village government is spent on your basics, stuff you don't realize is happening until it goes wrong. And this is one of them, is to continuously check that we have the best service at the best price for the tax dollars paid. Just wanted to sort of raise that and say another, opportunity to say job well done, and also that people are watching where dollars are moving. We have a second, right? So ready to vote? Martha?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Adoption of proposed local law 1 of 2021, formerly proposed local law 8 of 2020, a local law amending chapter 68 alcoholic beverages, chapter 186 parades, chapter 190 parks and recreation, and adopting a new chapter 226 special events, parades, and public gatherings of the Village of Austining Code. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin has been considering the adoption of proposed Local Law 1, 2021, formerly proposed Local Law 8, titled A Local Law Amending Chapter 68 Alcoholic Beverages, Chapter 186 Parades, Chapter 190 Parks and Recreation, and adopting a new Chapter 226 Special Events, Parades, and Public Gatherings of the Village of Austin Code. And whereas, in accordance with New York State law and the Village of Austin Code, and having provided all requisite notice, the Board of Trustees conducted a public hearing on November 4th, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. at the Joseph J. Caputo Community Center, 95 Broadway, Austin, New York, and via the Zoom platform in accordance with the Governor's executive orders, and the public hearing was continued on November 18th, December 2nd, and December 16th, 2020, during which the public had an opportunity to be heard regarding the proposed local law. And whereas on December 16, 2020, at the conclusion of the public hearing was closed. And whereas the proposed local law has been considered by the Board of Trustees and it has been determined that there are no impediments to proceeding with the adoption of the local law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby adopts proposed local law 1, 2021, formerly proposed local law 8, 2020 as local law 1, 2021, and directs that said local law be filed and or distributed in accord with applicable law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Okay.
Okay, so this is going to be a roll call vote. So Trustee Ritchie,
Aye.
Trustee Lopez,
Aye.
Trustee Quesada, Trustee
Aye.
Quesada,
Aye.
Trustee White,
Aye.
Trustee Levin.
Aye.
I mean Mayor Levin. Mayor Levin.
It's okay.
Rolls off the tongue still.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Authorizing the village manager to sign a professional engineering service agreement for replacement of the water main under the Westerly Road Bridge. Resolved that upon review by the Corporation Counsel, the village manager is authorized to sign a professional engineering services agreement with Charles A. Manganaro, consulting engineer, Stuart 3 South Broadway, Suite 223, Tarrytown, New York, 10591, for an amount not to exceed $68,500, not including reimbursable expenses for professional engineering services involving design, development, preparation of construction documents, bidding and solicitation phase services, and construction management services for replacement of the water main under the Westerly Road Bridge. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any
Mayor
comments?
Levin, you still here? Okay.
Yep. Any comments?
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Adoption of changes to fee schedule for 2021 other than water and sewer fees, whereas the village's adopted financial goals and policies requires in part the establishment and periodic evaluation of user charges and fees to help reduce reliance on real property taxes. And whereas the village recently adopted Local Law 1, 2021, which amended Chapter 68 Alcoholic Beverages, Chapter 186 Parades, Chapter 190 Parks and Recreation, and adopted a new Chapter 226 Special Events, Parades, and Public Gatherings. And whereas Local Law 1 of 2021 shall be effective upon filing with the Secretary of State in accord with the Municipal Home Rule Law. And whereas at this time, Village Manager has recommended certain changes to the adopted fee schedule for 2021 to include the fee schedule for special events permits. Now therefore be it resolved that the village's fee schedules is hereby amended effective January 1st, 2021 for the following user charges and fees. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Clerk?
Okay. All those in favor? All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Resolution authorizing the village manager to sign a contract with the SPCA Westchester Incorporated. Resolved that upon review by the Corporation Counsel, the village manager is authorized to sign a contract with the SPCA Westchester Incorporated, 590 North State Road, Briarcliff, Manor, New York, 10510, temporary location at 1966 Crumpond Road, Cortland Manor, New York, for a one-year term, January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, for $34,330.94 to provide care and shelter for homeless and stray dogs and cats seized by dog control officers, animal control officers, police, and other agents of the municipality. And be it further resolved that pursuant to the contract, the village also agrees to pay to the SPCA of Westchester Incorporated the following charges for the trap, neuter, return, P&R program for feral cats brought to the SPCA with village permission: $55 for each female cat spay procedure, $40 for each male neutered procedure, both fees inclusive of rabies vaccination and ear notching, and $50 for euthanasia/cremation reserved only for cats who are suffering as a result of Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Designation of persons to conduct a survey of the building at 7 Hunter Street and authorizing the Corporation Counsel to commence litigation determining that the building is a public nuisance and directing that it be repaired or torn down. Whereas on August 30th, 2018, a notice of unsafe building order to repair notice was sent to Armando and Aldina Homan, the owners of 7 Hunter Street, aka 60 Main Street, Village of Austin, 97.07-2-75 by the Village of Austin Code Enforcement Officer Jimson George. And whereas the owner was advised that the building was considered unsafe pursuant to sections 95-3C and 95-38 of the Village of Austin Code, as the roof system and rear facade wall had partially collapsed and the building remained in a hazardous condition. And resolved that the Board of Trustees designates Assistant Building Inspector Carlo Valente and Michael Mercury, P.E. of Grossfield Macari Consulting Engineers, P.C., 75 Smith Avenue, Mount Kisco, New York, to conduct a survey of 700 Street and provide a report to the building inspector not later than 30 days from the date of notification of their designation. And be it further resolved that if the survey report determines that 700 Street is dangerous or unsafe, the Corporation Counsel, pursuant to Section 95-10, shall make an application in the Supreme Court, Westchester County, for an order determining that 700 Street is a public nuisance and directing that the building be repaired or torn down. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments on the board? I'd like to just make a quick comment, which is twofold. One, we do get a lot of complaints when buildings start looking decrepit. People call it blight, which is a different term, etc. Why aren't we doing more, etc. On the other hand, you know, I have to sort of appreciate the work that our attorney has done and our building department and everybody involved, because we don't like doing these kind of things. We don't like taking properties and going through the process. We do it because we have to, and it's the right thing for the whole village. So I like to just give credit where it's due, which is that there is a balance to be had. The right amount of time gives people every opportunity to fix what they can, do what they can. And these properties actually have gone through that process. Even though we do get complaints that it takes a bit long, it's, you know, we do think, and I've said this before, it's not about buildings, it's not about sidewalks, it's about human beings. And I really do want to thank Corporation Counsel Kahan and the building department taking all the right steps, doing the things correctly, and moving it now to where it needs to be. So I think we're ready to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Designation of persons to conduct a survey of the building at 20 Maple Place and authorizing the Corporation Counsel to commence litigation determining that the building is a public nuisance and directing that it be repaired or torn down. Whereas on December 9, 2020, a notice of unsafe building order to repair notice was sent to Cynthia Wood, the owner of 20 Maple Place, Village of Austin, 89.19-4-64 by Village of Austin Code Enforcement Gary Gibbs. And whereas the owner was advised that the building was considered unsafe pursuant to sections 95-3C and 95-38 of the Village Code, as the roof was noted to be sinking, causing the bricks on the upper portion of the building to crack and separate from the building. Resolved that the Board of Trustees designates Assistant Building Inspector Carlo Valente and Michael Mercury, P.E. of Grossfield Macari Engineering Buildings, Consulting Engineers, PC, 75 Smith Avenue, Mount Kisco, New York, to conduct a survey of 20 Maple Place and provide a report to the building inspector not later than 30 days from the date of notification of their designation. And be a further result that if the survey report determines that 20 Maple Place is dangerous or unsafe, the Corporation Counsel, pursuant to Section 95-10, shall make an application in the Supreme Court, Westchester County, for an order determining that 20 Maple Place is a public nuisance and directing that the building be repaired or torn down. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on the board?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Finance, establishment of various capital projects for the 2020 financing source. Whereas village management established capital projects for various capital purposes and purchases which were part of the village's 2021 capital plan and designated to be financed by accumulated and available surplus fund balance as of December 31st, 2020. And therefore be it resolved that the adopted budgets of the general and water funds are modified in 2020 to appropriate unexpended appropriations and/or accumulated in available fund balance for 2021 capital plan items aggregating $392,000, and that capital projects and capital projects budgets be established as follows. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Go ahead.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. Finance, establishment of various capital projects from 2021 debt financing sources. Whereas village management wishes to establish capital projects for various capital purposes and purchases aggregating $1,325,000, which are part of the village's 2021 capital plan and designated to be financed by issuance of serial bonds. Now therefore be it resolved, capital projects and capital project budgets are established as follows. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Okay. One second. A resolution authorizing the replacement of the water main on McCarthy Drive in and for the Village of Austin, Westchester County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $625,000, and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $625,000 serial bonds of said village to pay the cost thereof. Be resolved by the affirmative vote of not less than 2/3 of the total voting strength of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin, Westchester County, New York, as follows. The replacement of the water main on McCarthy Drive in and for the Village of Austin, Westchester County, New York, is hereby authorized, subject to permissive referendum, at a maximum estimated cost of $625,000. Section 2, the plan for the financing of the aforesaid maximum estimated cost is by the issuance of $625,000 serial bonds of said village, hereby authorized to be issued, therefore pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law. Section 9, upon this resolution taking effect, the same shall be published in a summary form in the official newspaper of said village for such purpose, together with a notice of the village clerk in substantially the form provided in section 81.00 the local finance law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments? Since we have Dale on Zoom, Village Manager, do you think this might, given the amount and complexity, does this need any further explanation?
I think that's fine. Dale, you want to give some detail here?
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Absolutely. This project is actually a joint project of the town of Austin, IMA, and so this portion, the $625,000 for McCarthy Drive for the village portion, is for the actual water main work, and the town does have a mirroring resolution that will be going on for their meeting next Tuesday, which is going to encompass actually widening McCarthy Drive, doing drainage, and doing paving for, yeah, I'm sure there's some more in there, but that's the bulk of the town's piece of it. So it is going to be somewhat of a joint venture, but I'm told it is going to be a fabulous road when it is done.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, then I think we're ready.
Okay, this is going to be a roll call vote. So Trustee Lopez,
Aye.
Trustee Fritchie,
Aye.
Trustee White,
Aye.
Trustee Quesada,
Aye.
Mayor Levin.
Aye.
A resolution authorizing the Snowden / Westerly RR Bridge water main replacement in and for the Village of Austin, Westchester County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $700,000 and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of a $700,000 serial bonds of said village to pay the cost thereof. Be resolved by the affirmative vote of not less than 2/3 of the total voting strength of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin, Westchester County, New York, as follows. Section 1, the Snowden/Westerly RR Bridge water main replacement in and for the Village of Austin, Westchester County, New York, is hereby authorized, subject to permissive referendum, at a maximum estimated cost of $700,000. Section 2, the plan for the financing after maximum estimated cost is by the issuance of $700,000 issued, therefore, pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law. Section 9, upon this resolution taking effect, the same shall be published in summary form in the official newspaper of said village for such purpose, together with a notice to the village clerk is substantially the form provided in section 81.00 of the local finance law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on the board on this one? Okay, ready to vote?
This is also a roll call vote. So Trustee Lopez,
Aye.
Trustee Fritchie,
Aye.
Trustee White,
Aye.
Trustee Quesada,
Aye.
Mayor Levin.
Aye.
Okay. Resolution calling for approval of request for an extension of the planned waterfront special permit for the Hudson Crest FKA Hudson Steep Development.
Mayor, I'm going to
Are we-
request that this resolution be withdrawn as moot in view of the fact that a building permit has been issued, and therefore there is no need for an extension of the special waterfront permit.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next one.
Do we need a
Do we need to
motion?
vote?
We need a
We're
motion,
removing
Anna?
it?
You can make a motion to withdraw it if you wish, sure, to be formal.
Make a
Okay.
motion, we withdraw said resolution.
Okay.
I second that motion.
I don't think we need more comments. Ready to vote?
Okay, all those in favor to withdraw the resolution?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Resolution approving cabaret license of Serenita Lounge, 12 Croton Avenue, Austin, New York. Whereas pursuant to chapters 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Austin Code, the authorized representative of the business, Serenita Lounge Incorporated, 12 Croton Avenue, has presented an application to the village clerk as licensing officer for a cabaret license for 2021. And resolved, pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for Serenita Lounge Incorporated, 12 Croton Avenue for 2021 as follows. Serenita Lounge Incorporated, days and hours, Thursday through Monday, 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and types of music, DJ. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Are there any seconds?
Yes, I got it. Trustee Lopez. Are there any comments?
Any comments? Maybe I see you moving, but is that just, you're just moving?
No, I'm just, you know, part of my struggle with this one is some of the, you know, part of the work session last week when the chief kind of presented some of the struggles that this particular two locations that we've been having problems with, you know, in the past year. So, you know, that's sort of my struggle with this. At the same time, you know, I don't want to put a strength to a business as the pandemic kind of struggles at the same time, you know, as a business owner. So that's sort of my issue right now with these two cabaret licenses are coming up.
Yeah, I think it was a tough conversation actually at the work session. Between the pandemic and the hours of operation of 2 a.m. and some of the issues that arise, there may be an opportunity in this year to revisit these 2 a.m. We try to be consistent across all of the similar businesses. So we may have to have a conversation about whether 2 a.m. Is the right time, or we might want to shorten the days or change some of those aspects. It's hard to do it for one, it's always hard for the first one. So there might be opportunities, because I agree with you. I think this needs to be a revisit of all of the bars and the hours of operations as a separate topic. Not for tonight, it's a legislative session. But it's probably, we haven't had that conversation a while. It might just be time to revisit this topic. But for now, let's see where the vote goes. I think we're ready to vote.
I just have a question for Stuart. At any time during the year, can we amend the times and the days?
You can, but you could not go back and basically change the license. Once you've granted it to 2 a.m., that's what it's going to be for this year. Then
Okay.
it would go for the next application.
All right.
Would a different question, I don't mean to read into Bob's thoughts or his mind, but would a different way of looking at it is that do we have to do it for a year, or can we do it for 6 months?
This is a one-year license.
So it has to be a year or not. It's an
One-year permit. We do have day permits, but that's not what they're looking for. This is a one-year permit.
It's a 1-year permit. Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we're ready to vote.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Opposed? Okay. Resolution approving cabaret license for El Manavita Sport Restaurant Incorporated, 107 Main Street, Austin, New York. Whereas pursuant to chapters 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Austin Code, the authorized representative of the business El Manavita Sports Bar Restaurant Incorporated, 107 Main Street, has presented an application to the village clerk as licensing officer for a cabaret license for live music and DJs for 2021. And resolved that pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for El Manavita Sports Bar Restaurant Incorporated, 107 Main Street for 2021 as follows. El Manavita Sports Bar Restaurant Incorporated, days and hours Monday through Thursday, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. Friday to Sunday from 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. and types of music, live music, and DJ. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Are there any
Any
comments?
comments? Thank you, sorry, I'm losing
You're
my
welcome,
head.
it's fine. It's fine.
We'll just do a tag team over
No,
here. Any comments?
Yeah, we're the same thing as the other one.
Yeah.
We're just, what are we going to do right now?
Yeah, we'll have to put this into a different session or ask the village manager to help us out and bring this up at a different point in the year, add it to possibly a work session. If we have parameters and interested in the chief bringing his thoughts into this, because I think it's just a topic, but I'm not sure this is the exact moment in time to do it, but I agree with you.
I agree, but Stuart, is there can we redesign these licenses at some point in a work session for the next in other words, shortening times and dates?
You can do a variety of things, yes.
Okay.
I should point out that the current code actually has a closing time of 3 a.m.
Yep.
And the board has actually, basically said we're not going past 2.
Right.
But if this board wants to change that or make other changes in terms of, change the length of the permit or things like that, that can certainly be done because you licensed the cabaret.
Okay. You know where I'm going with this, right, Mayor?
Yeah, I think we all do. I just think that it needs a conversation because there has to be an
Right.
agreement. All sides have to be looked at. There are multiple issues. What seems simple usually isn't. So, and these are small businesses, that are part of the community. So, but I put it down in my notes, Bob, to raise this as an issue for discussion.
Okay.
We're ready for the vote?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Fire Department appointment, Cataract House Company number 2, resolved that upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, Cassandra Rios, Austin, New York, was elected an active member of the Cataract House Company number 2 for interior firefighting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Ready.
She's been a member. She's an influx of our venturing crew. So, and she's been a member. She was a former captain of the venture crew, and I think she's going to be a good addition to Cataract Hose.
Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I think we're ready to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on to continuing, was it
We're
supposed
moving,
to?
yeah, we're moving on to the
Yeah.
continuing business of
Yeah.
the board.
Yeah,
Martha, I'm
we're-
just going to let you run the meetings going forward. I'm loving it. Yeah, speak
Uh,
fast. You're getting it all done. Thank you. Continuing business of the board.
Yes, Stuart, was that resolution supposed to be continuing or new business? I
New
know it came
business,
in
please, Martha.
new business. Okay, my
Right.
apologies. It came in a bit late.
But Matt,
Continuing, is there any new continuing business of the board?
yes,
There we go.
there is.
Okay, continuing
I
business.
do
okay.
have, I do have one item. So we talked about on work session last week about the survey regarding the steel. I know I wanted, I'm supposed to send out some version, sort of a revised version that I sent out. There were some edits that Trustee White wanted to do, so I will do that tonight. I did have a conversation with Stuart in regards to some of the modifications that we would like to see. I did get a chance to talk to the artist that worked on the previous design, and he is willing to help us out with whatever the outcome will be at some point. So we want to put a contract together with him. So Stuart's going to help me with that. We had a conversation on Thursday in regards to that. So I just want to kind of follow up with that. And I had a very good conversation with a member of our community as well. That kind of guide me with better understanding. At least I'm not, I don't, my expertise is definitely not surveys and community, that part. So she kind of guide me through some of the stuff. So I'm going to be asking probably Karen and Jamie to help me go through this process and put something together. So I'm hoping to put that hopefully by next week, and we can start launching this after our next work session, Mayor, if I may just add that. Or I can send this out probably via email if the rest of the board is in agreement with the outcome of the survey, then we can just move forward from there.
Do we need anything, village manager, in the work session? I know I looked at the agenda, it wasn't on there for next week, but do we need sort of a plan of action, what the next steps are? The survey is a tool. It's not a plan in and of itself. We discussed a week ago that in 2 weeks we might have a plan for the village, but I don't know if next week's the right time or we need.
Well, we're just gonna, we're in the process of looking at what where the seals need to be changed, and really, I think it'll take, I'm not sure, since you already had a work session about this, I think that, and Stuart, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we can go ahead and launch a survey. What I'm planning to have is something to you by next week that possibly could be discussed. If you want to discuss the work, we can add it as an agenda item. I was going to send it by email. I'm not sure if it warrants discussion. We can have more discussion at the work session. But I think right now, other than keeping the public informed about what we're doing, I'm not sure it requires additional work session as a specific topic.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just, if we need one, we'll have one. I think you're right. I just wanted to be respectful of, of putting a plan together. And if you need a time for that, I want to make sure that we give space to that.
We appreciate that greatly. We have a lot of moving parts and a lot of outreach going on. So
okay.
The goal was to get the board, sort of a flow chart, if you will, of what steps need to be taken. We should have that. 2 weeks would be next Wednesday. Again, the goal is to get that to you. But at that point, it's mostly internal stuff. I'm not sure if it warrants, there's no real, I don't think there's any resolution-oriented actions to it.
Okay.
At this point.
Looking at Stuart, but I think we're okay based. Yep. Okay.
So I can coordinate all that stuff with Dana, and then I'll coordinate that with Karen and Jamie as well, and we can move from there. And I'll keep the rest of the board up to date in what the next steps are. So.
Great.
All good. Appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, we are moving on to new business, I believe, unless I, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so
okay.
new business of the board, and we do have new business.
Resolution. So resolution authorizing the superintendent of recreational parks to accept a donation of $500 from the Westchester Bank for senior programming. Resolved that the superintendent of the recreational parks department is authorized to accept a donation of $500 from the Marlene Messina, vice president of Westchester Bank, 240 South Highland Avenue, Austin, New York, for senior programming. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any comments on the board? I would say thank you. Thank you for the donation. It's very nice that community, businesses, and individuals, see fit to do things for the community in this way. Very much appreciated. We're ready for the vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there any more new business of the board? New business? of the board?
Anybody have any more new business? Not seeing it. Visitor recognition. Do we have any visitors that would like to speak to address the board on any issues not related to the agenda, just any issues that they might have and want to make us aware? I'm not seeing anything. Okay.
Okay.
Nope. I think that's it.
In that case, I call for an adjournment for executive session.
So
Mayor,
moved.
this would be with regard to both personnel and matters of collective bargaining, please.
Thank you. Did I hear a motion?
I said so moved.
Second.
Thank you. We're ready to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. This concludes tonight's meeting. I am urging all of you to join us next Wednesday for what I think will be a vibrant and interesting agenda items. Everything's on our website. I want to take a moment to encourage those of you listening, those of you that might see this at a different point in time, to please sign up for the e-blast. Please sign up for the mayor's letter, because we do use the website and those letters and those e-blasts as an important form of communication and sharing data and information and videos and everything else and surveys. So I do encourage you all to register for those. Thank you. Have a good night.
Mayor, don't forget our meeting tomorrow for the DPW side as well.
Well, I think we mentioned it earlier, but I'm happy to say it again. DPW tomorrow, 7 p.m. Yes, that's on the website, the Zoom link, and next week is the police reimagining as well. That was mentioned earlier. Two very large initiatives that we have going on, amongst many, but those two are coming up sort of very quickly. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.